person you see the name here, I'm going to tell you a quick story just now, Mr. Bonang Mohale. I had contacted a few influential people within South Africa and even out of South Africa to write a forward for my book, and I got doors slammed on my face. Trevor Noah's team was one of those. I called his manager and they were like, no.
He's got guts, eh? He's got guts.
Yeah, so I called Les Brown, for many people who follow him online.
Yes.
His team also shut the door at me. Lisa Nichols, motivational speakers in the US. This team also shut the door at me. So there were a couple of people within South Africa, I don't want to be naming names. But still, those were shot at me, right? So one day I got up one morning and I'm sitting in my room so despondent, and I switched on the TV reluctantly, and Mr. Bonang Mohale was on TV that morning. He was having an interview, I think on ETV or something, and I caught the interview like 5 minutes to the end, but I was able to see the name that was written before it went up, because for those 5 minutes that I listened, whatever he was saying resonated with me so much. I was like, oh my God, I don't know who this person is, but I think I'm gonna try and shoot my shot to see if he can write a forward for my book, right? And that morning I remember my daughter asking me, Mommy, who broke your heart? Why are you crying? I was in a state. That was like a few days after the person in South Africa that I thought would write a forward said no to me, said no, you're not doing this. And I was heartbroken. I was like, oh my God, where do I start now? I thought this was it. Because I thought, even if my book is in a certain state, once people see an influential name on it, they will trust it, right? So anyway, I was like, let me try this guy on TV. I don't know who he is, never heard of Mr. Bonang before, but I quickly took the name from ETV and Googled it. Google is my friend. And Google, when I Google like the things that, I was like, oh wow, this guy is way bigger than I thought. And his office is based in Sandton.
Yes, it is.
You want to write the next question first? I need to tell this story.
No, tell the story. I actually want to read a paragraph from Bonang's
okay,
preface.
you will read it.
I'll read it after you're done with the story.
Yes. So I got the number for his office. He was still with Business SA at the time.
Yes.
Business leadership. So I got the number. I called the office. They said he was on holiday at the time. And he had gone for Christmas holiday. He doesn't work in December. I think they said the whole of December he does not work at all.
That's
I think
nice
I called
life.
him.
Nice
I called
life.
him around 2nd or 3rd of December. They said he does not work in December at all. I'm like, is there a way you can just shoot him an email requesting if you can write a forward for my book? I'm like, I just watch him on TV. They're like, yes, but he's not working in December. They were going to put me through to his PA. The PA told me the same thing. He's not working in December. We cannot contact him for anything relating to work.
Right.
Call us 7th of January. That was the next following year. That was 2018 or 2019. I can't remember. But the new year starts, offices opens on the 7th.
Right.
7 early in the morning. I think I was the first person to call that office after waiting for 1 month. I'm like, I can't wait. I called and I'm like, do you remember me? I called you last month and you said I could call. She's like, yeah, I remember. What is it you want us to do for you? I sold the whole story, and she was like, okay, I will talk to my boss and I'll get back to you. Send me an email. So I sent an email. A few hours later, she got back to me and said, okay, I've discussed this with my boss, and he has said, yes, he was open to write it forward. I should send the e-copy of the book, which was still in its raw form. I quickly emailed it to her, but then I asked her, is it possible for me to meet him in person? She's like, but he has said yes, he's going to write a book. I mean, the forward. I'm like, no, I need to meet him in person. Like, he's fully booked until March. I was calling me January, he's fully booked till March. Can you wait till March? Yes, I'm going to wait until March. So March 17th, I remember the date. I was booked for that day, and I had only 15 minutes.
My son's birthday.
I had only 15 minutes with him, and I walked into his office. This man came in, he's the most humble person I've ever met. He came with water, poured into my arm, like literally trying to stop him from serving me. Like, no, you're in my house, sit down. Okay, we had a conversation. He asked me where I was from, what the book is about. I explained, and then he asked me a question, like, when is the book coming out? I don't know. I had no
What was
clue.
his response?
No, when I said I don't know, he looked at me like, but you came for me to write it forward. I'm like, yes. When is
Who's
the
this
book coming
crazy
out?
woman that's come to see me?
Exactly. I'm like, I don't know. And then he's like, well, why don't I know? Then I explained I've had a quote from my publisher. This is what it's going to cost. This is the percentage they want you to pay first. And at the time I was running a crowdfunding campaign. That was my last bus stop. You know what the last bus stop is? I was like, okay, I'm running this crowdfunding campaign. Hopefully I can raise 20% of what the publisher, that guy introduced me to. Remember the earlier story?
Yes.
To pay them before they start the work, because they asked me for a certain percentage to start the work. So I was doing the crowdfunding campaign to do that. And in my head, I'm hoping, okay, maybe if he hears about this crowdfunding campaign, he can put a few thousand in to push the thing to go forward, right? Really, in my head, that's what I'm wishing. He's like, so how's the crowdfunding campaign going? I'm like, it's not going well. It's like, okay, how much did your publisher, what's the quote your publisher gave you? Was money I was scared to call. Literally dragged the amount out of my mouth, right? And I eventually told him how much the publisher had charged for everything, including the production and the first batch of print. So I tell the publisher to send me an invoice. I'm like, I didn't hear him. So I tell the publisher to send me an invoice. I literally broke in tears in his office.
Amen.
It's like, you know,
oh, that's your story.
So literally, that is how the book came out. I went to ask for it forward. Honestly, I did not go to ask him for money. And I looked at him, I'm like, sir, but you don't know me. This is the first time.
Yes.
He's like, this 15 minutes you spend is enough for me to know you are worth investing in. That was what he told me.
Now, Nicky, let me read what Bonanza says, right? As Nicky mentions in her book, there are no longer gatekeepers blocking your way to success. Technology has broken barriers and made things easy for everyone. The internet is an equal opportunity for everyone, and smart people are using it to create spotlight for themselves. The number of digital startups, online courses, and internet celebrities has exploded in recent years, and many people are becoming rich and influential due to the power of the internet. He also goes on to say, what I like about Nicky Bird and her book is that you can tell she comes from a roller coaster of struggle. She understands the journey of personal disruption. After being retrenched, she felt dejected, hopeless, yet she chose her own path to success without knowing the outcome. She boldly took a leap of faith into the unknown, and today you can read a mind-transforming book that came as a result of her own personal disruption. Each page will encourage you to leave behind what you're familiar with and to look at the world through fresh lens, one that turns assumptions and conventions upside down. Now, I can understand why he was quite happy to give you a forward, because I think it's been incredible. I mean, for me to sit here with you and launch your book